Welcome. Thank you all for joining me here today. I appreciate your time. My name is Michael. I am the founder of backtothefuturetrading.com in accordance with my best friend, my partner in the whole wide world, Ron Gardner, and all of us here at BTTFT. I want to thank you for your time today. Really appreciate you stopping by. It's been a crazy couple days in the markets, and I want to sort of bring us through a very simple demonstration because we believe that banks are, in essence, not playing fairly. If institutions, trading institutions, investment corporations, and banks are rigging and manipulating markets, then we're essentially trading uphill. We don't have the same edges, the same power that institutions have to manipulate markets, markets to their advantage. And so across 300, 450 vendors in the NinjaTrader ecosystem, amongst all of the futures and forex and equities companies developing tools for traders to provide an edge to you, we are the only one that proves the proof is in the pudding. We prove the pudding is wonderful by giving you the times and directions in advance. For several markets in both futures and forex, 2 days in advance, in fact. We tell you how we're going to evaluate those times when we arrive at those times in the future. We're going to apply a very simple two-setup trading system to the times that we gave you 2 days ago. We've let 36 hours pass from the original email containing all this information and let it ferment. Let it really marinate. Let all those trading times and market conditions pass. And when we come together at the end of all of it, Simon, William, Wes, what we're expecting to see based on historical experience inside of the space of trading tools is absolute failure. Most people, when they come to this webinar, are doing it more or less to confirm that there's nothing useful, that there are no systems, there are no edges anymore, and won't it be fun to watch these guys fall on their face? Won't it be fun the next morning when I log into my forum and tell all the guys how stupid that webinar was last night? That was my experience for 10 years. It's still my experience. There are very few, if any, edges that are reliable, systems or tools that don't rely upon some secret knowledge that companies want you to pay tens of thousands of dollars for over the course of your life. If only there were some edge that was reliable and truthful and transparent. And so we'll scroll through a bunch of this stuff and frame everything in the understanding that we all know 90 to 95% of traders are failing consistently. And so at the end of every year, we hear about the bonuses on Wall Street. The investment banks made record millions, record billions. They buy their wives Lexuses on Christmas. They look out and see that big red bow, and we're left holding a very smelly stick. That's all we get. And so we believe, our company, Back to the Future Trading, believes that everyone should have access to the same level of power, the same information. The field should be level. If we're all going to war, we should all be equipped with the same weapons. We should all be driving cars with the same size engine, then let the best man win. And so what I'm going to show you today is how we've built a program. We've built you a field leveler. Over 12,000 lines of code developed over 10 years with one specific purpose. We want you to use the enemy's time against them. We want banks to be surprised, and our customers have been surprising institutions now for over a decade, over 6,000 customers in every major financial market of the world. And we're taking back what's ours. We're putting institutions and banks on notice. We're equipping you with indicators and tools and techniques that harness the full power of your computer, the full power of your PC. See, there's a problem. I'm going to jump around a little bit right now. The problem is most of you own a trading computer, and you show up to a gunfight with a fly swatter. You're using tools that you've been taught and told by supposed experts and industry insiders that are relatively ineffectual and useless. Now, there are success stories at the fringes, but things like volume and volume profile and support and resistance and fibs and order flow analysis and whatever the latest greatest bar type is, hybrid Renko, super duper Renko bars, it all comes back down to the fact that at the end of the day, your computer, 2.5, 3.5, 4.0 or higher gigahertz, that's billion calculations per second, is starved for work. You haven't asked it nearly enough in terms of capacity. And so by default, you've got yourself behind the curve. Now, we employ a technique known as data mining. We use data mining across the 12,000 lines of code to look back in the past, historically, to identify high probability recurring times in the markets and in the time frames of those markets that you trade. And what we determined after 10 years is that of all the elements, time is the one with the biggest edge. There are times hidden in the data. I would say hidden, but they're really not. There are times in the data over the last several thousand bars of the market that you're trading that show up. They're spikes. There are times where banks are predictably and reliably doing things right under your nose. Now, how do they get away with this? Why is this happening? How do we know that they can even approach this? Well, it comes down to a physiological vulnerability that we all share. Those of you old enough to remember the cartoon character Mr. Magoo, how many of you remember Mr. Magoo growing up? Anybody? The older I get, the more I find my examples are more or less meaningless to more and more people. I asked somebody today at the gym if they'd seen the movie Pulp Fiction, and the young man in his 20s who trains with me looked as though I had 3 heads. I said, Pulp Fiction. You know, whose chopper is this? Zed's. Who's Zed? Zed's dead. Guy, never mind. So they've actually studied why banks can get away with what they get away with. And it's because ultimately we suffer from something called the recency effect. We are physiologically, psychologically hardwired to place tremendous emphasis on stuff that is happening right now. How many of you remember the phrase, those who do not study history are destined to do what? Those who do not study history are destined to blank. That's right. Repeat it. Why do these same things happen over and over and over and over again? Because we forget. We pay attention to what is right in front of our noses. And it's something that has served us well, evolutionarily speaking, for millennia. When the bushes are shaking, you should run because there may be a tiger behind them. If you're hungry, go hit a goat on the top of a head because you're going to starve if you don't. But then people started paying attention to the vulnerability. You see, banks, they don't care about you and me. Banks aren't beholden to us. Banks could give a rat's patootie how you and I trade. They are the golden rulers. They are never held to account. They have bought and paid for politicians and have laws in place. Regulatory agencies are staffed with former members. The Federal Reserve is laden with former Goldman Sachs employees. No one is coming to save us. And so there are two kinds of traders. There are the traders who wake up every morning and believe that they can conquer this conspiracy. They believe that they can leverage their wackadoo indicators if they just follow their slick Russian accent, English accent, European trading room guru. Everything is going to be okay. They neglect to remember that investment institutions have poured millions and billions of dollars into R&D, into algorithms, into psychology. The markets, you have a greater chance of becoming a special forces member. You have a greater chance of becoming a doctor, a lawyer, a brain surgeon than you do of becoming a profitable trader because of the recency effect, because of the power of the tools that they leverage against you. What we do is different. The old phrase, if you can't beat them, you do what? If you can't beat them, my dad, I realized later in life, was communicating wisdom to me through these little idioms. Because I'm 48 now, he passed away when he was 58. And he never sat me down and said, all right, these are some things that I want you to learn. Pick up a pencil and write this down. But I find the older that I get, and maybe you guys experience this, ladies as well, I find myself saying the things to my children that my father said to me. And they're usually 6 or 7 word phrases. If you can't beat them, join them. That's right. Our software aligns your account, aligns your trade with a moral, evil, if I may say, institutional investors. We perform what's known as a drafting technique. When banks are moving markets, we move with banks. Now, some of you don't like that. I don't want to be associated with the Darth Vaders of the universe. I'll tell you what, Empire got pretty big before they blew the Death Star up. Darth Vader had a nice ship. And so what we're going to do today is relatively insane. What we're going to do today is relatively insane. But I hope that you'll follow with me through the end. because there's a reward for you if you do. Here's what we do. The TachEON Warp program is designed to provide the highest probability times and directions, days in the future. For which markets? Futures, forex, stocks, crypto, whatever you have a data feed for. And so to prove that this is working, we've all undertaken a free trial today. Step one, I send an email with 2 days worth of times. Inside of that email, I include a base trading system whose rules will follow at the end of the experiment. Step two, wait 2 days. Step three, come together and evaluate the results. And what we're going to do at the end of this is I'm going to ask you, did this work? Yes or no? And I'd like for all of us here, the 40 plus or so of us together today, to answer the question honestly. I can take it. I believe in transparency. So at the end of this, you'll see that there's no way for me to have influenced the results, because I gave everyone the information, close to 80,000 people on our mailing list. There's no way I could have changed the times after the fact. There's no way I could have made the markets move the directions I wanted them to have. There's no way I could trade them differently once I've given everyone the system that's been public now for years. And so at the end, I want you to be brutally honest with me, and then brutally honest with yourself as to whether or not the software works. Because if it works, and you choose to trade without it, you are in essence admitting publicly that you like gambling. Admitting to yourself that the adrenaline rush of not knowing, the joy that comes with that, exceeds the pleasure of being net profitable. And let's begin. Earlier in the week, I sent out a link. How many of you got that email? Histogram forecasts. Inside of that email, and if you haven't seen it, I'm going to go ahead and copy paste that link into your GoToWebinar chat box. Inside of that email were time maps for Wednesday and time maps for Thursday. Those markets covered included the Emini S&P, the Emini Dow, the NASDAQ, gold futures, the pound dollar, crude futures, the DAX, and the Euro USD. Some of the most popular markets in the world. Traders flock to these to attempt to make a living. Now, I do want you to know that this works as well on stocks like Apple and Tesla. This works on Bitcoin. It works on SPY and the Qs. It works on all of that stuff. I've chosen these because most of you here today coming are trading these markets. And so if you have an interest in any of the other markets, I have no problem going over those results with you. What I do need to do right now is gain credibility with you. I want you to see that the signals that we had here today did in fact take place. I want you to see what happened at those times and what would happen if we placed a very strict mechanical rules-based system around those signals. Would you like to see that? Okay, so let me just verify something here real quick. That's the 3-minute chart that I have up. There we go. Okay, can you guys see this chart okay? Did it come up all right? You should see a series of blue lines and white lines with a black background. Let me know if that's coming up okay. All right, great. 12,000 lines of code did something. All 12,000 lines of code in the TachEON Warp program. When I asked it to, on Tuesday night, it gave me an answer. And it said, Michael, when you get to Thursday, these are the times, Eastern time, that you should watch out for. We'll put exclamation points here to really reinforce that. When you get to Thursday, remember, it told us this on Tuesday. When you get here, pay attention. These are the times that institutions historically rig markets. Now, what do I mean by rig? Throw their weight around. When I was a kid, I was bullied. We didn't have anti-bully programs like they do in school. We didn't have zero tolerance programs. We were told boys will be boys. Jim, I had a 5 and a 3. I'm looking at the 3 because there are more signals to work with. It's more relevant on a 3 because there's more chances for it to fail. And so I was bullied growing up, and I don't like being bullied anymore. I'm stronger than I've ever been. And I'll be honest, I step into situations now that I should probably keep my mouth closed and move past. But I take most of my youthful aggression out on institutions with this code. So all of these times that are here above the blue line are times historically where banks have bullied retail traders and attempted to push price lower. All of these times on the bottom of the histogram, represented by white lines, are times historically where Goldman Sachs and Deutsche Bank and Credit Suisse and JP Morgan have historically demonstrated a tendency to push markets higher. And the computer is warning us. The software on your computer will warn you, hey, as we come into these times on Thursday, you should be prepared. Because all of the times up here, Jerry, Jeffrey, Jim, they're going to be disguised as buying opportunities. These are the times where you will get in the position the wrong way. How many of you trade such that you say at the end of the session, if I only went opposite every single time, I'd be a millionaire? If I only did the opposite trade every single time, the equity curve would go straight up. Do you know why that happens? It happens because they use these times to set up a scenario that looks so tasty and juicy. That looks like a buy right there. Oh yeah, why is it falling? Catch me, I'm falling. And these times are places where their algorithms, Jeffrey, are preparing to push the market higher, and they look just like a short. Is this a short? I promise you, mate, it's a short. But if I go short, are you going to go up right here? No, absolutely not. Matter of fact, me and all my buddies are getting ready to go short too. Watch, we're going to pierce this bottom right here. You should get short as well. No, I do this every time and it always goes the wrong way. Look, I swear on my children's life, it's going to go down. Absolutely. Would I lie to you? No, you look okay. You have a good accent too. Were you in that movie with the alligators? They were crocodiles, and no, I wasn't. All right, let's go short. Here we go. Stop filled. Come on! I can't believe you fell for that again. We're going to get you in 17 minutes. That's what I'm proposing. Now, we realize that you shouldn't believe a thing I say either. I'm funny. I'm relatively bald, a little chubby. But I don't want you to believe anything I'm about to tell you. So, in addition to giving you these times, I included a link to a video. And the video described a trading system that we would deploy when we got to these times. I'm a little chubby. I'm way less chubby than I used to be. I'm down from 287 to 228 as of this morning. And I've been at 220, between 228 and 230 now for almost 2 years, which for me, if you knew me, woo. Anyhow, I forgot where I was going with this. In the video, I'm 5'10". I am 5'10". In the video, how did this turn out to be? Anyway, how did this turn out to be a thing about my life? In the video, I talk about a trading system. And the trading system is very simple. Melissa, here's your favorite picture of me. This is me now. I'm a monster. I am a stud. I love that gorilla shirt too. I'm very fond of that gorilla shirt. The system described in the video is based on 2 different setups. And we're going to apply those setups with the stops that I told you about last week and in the video today in the market that we trade, the ES. Yeah. I've been working. I've been working hard. If we arrive at a selling pressure time and the 120 period moving average is sloping down, we're going to wait for that selling pressure time, and we're going to wait for that candle to close. We're going to put a stop 10 ticks away from the high of the candle on a 1-minute chart and 15 ticks away for a 3 or a 5-minute chart. I'm going to put my stop just on the other side of that gap. And then we're going to hold the trade until the opposite buying pressure time. So we're going to get in a move that historically the banks have demonstrated a tendency to propagate. Does that make sense, everybody? So we're going to get in and we're going to hold the trade until the opposite buying pressure time, and then we're going to exit at the close of that candle. Now, I have a rule. If you make a ridiculous amount of money, like $500 per contract in the ES, Jeffrey, I'm going to go to break even plus 1 tick. I'm not going to let a $500 winner turn into a $1,000 loser, right? That's just insane. None of us here would do that. So we have that in the back. Now, in the event, and we're going to go through this in detail, so don't worry, that we have an upwardly sloping moving average, and we arrive at one of those buying pressure times. Let's say there's a candle that looks like that. We're going to have the same gap from the low of the candle. And until the opposite selling pressure time, we're going to go long until we arrive at the close of that next signal. So there are kind of 3 possibilities. Number 1, we can hit the protective stop loss. Number 2, we can end up in profit. Or number 3, we can end up a little bit in red, a little bit under the water. Jeffrey asks, Michael, do you only use the one EMA? We have been using, Jeffrey, in the webinars, the same everything for almost 10 years. And there's a reason that I do that. Do you know why I do that? We do it because other vendors change the settings and the values week to week to make the software look better. It's something called curve fitting. If you've ever researched another company, you'll know that they change the size of their bars, they change the size of their indicators, they change their parameters to make it look really good for that day. So again, to avoid that, to have transparency, I want to show you another picture. Why is it important for me that you believe me? Let's see if I can find that picture. It's important for me because I took all sorts of oaths when I was 16 years old, and I asked my sons to take the same oaths with me. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically fit, mentally awake, and morally straight. This is my 16-year-old son, Evan. And so I want him to not tell a lie. I want him to be truthful and to be honest. And so when we opened this company, our parent company is known as Higher Purpose. We wanted to do everything that we could to be transparent, to be open, to be above board and beyond reproach. And so there's my little Eagle Scout knot right there. My son, oldest son, is an Eagle Scout. My youngest is on his way. And even though my daughter could have tried, she didn't want to do it. This is me with a chubbier face. Abby is instead going to Embry-Riddle University to study astronomy and astrophysics. She had a different course in life. Jerry wrote, "Are you serious?" and left the webinar. Bye, Jerry. Don't let the door hit you in the butt. What is it with people? I don't understand. Anyway, so those are the two. That's the first setup. And guys, we call that a signal with trend. Or you'll see me say SWT sometimes on a chart when I write it. Yeah, I can't make everybody happy all the time. They don't believe that someone's trying to be honest. But whatever. If we have a selling pressure signal in an uptrend, this one's going to blow your noggin. If we have a selling pressure signal, oh, I'm in a great mood today, don't worry about me, in an uptrend, we are going to wait for what was described in the teaching video as a puncture. In essence, what happens at the selling pressure times is you have these moves and you'll have these candles, Jeffrey, where they lure you into a position and they run the stops. Have you ever seen this? I call it a porcupine pattern. And so what we'll do is we say, listen, we know your tricks. And we're going to set a buy limit order right here, right at the line. And we're going to scalp 8 ticks. 6 to 8 ticks is what the video says. Now, that's just to be consistent. It's what I started with, and I don't want to change it now. We will put our stop directly underneath the candle that punctures the line. Jim writes, second request, sorry, maybe a dumb question, no such thing. Are you saying we only trade in the direction of the 120 EMA, or that we trade short if below the 120 and long if above it? You're saying the same thing. I'm saying we're always looking for signals in the direction of the trend, Jim, for the purpose of evaluating whether or not the signals worked. Yeah. Jim, does that make sense? I'm not saying you have to trade that way. I'm saying to keep me honest, that's the basic system I'm going to apply to the signals to see if they make or lose money. Now, Jim, while we're on the subject, could I just as easily, Jim, if I have a Bollinger Band like this, could I trade highs and lows and go short when there's a selling signal at the upper Bollinger Band? And could I go long at the lower Bollinger Band if there's a buying pressure signal down here? Would that be another way of trading that system? To encase it with a rules-based system? Yeah. We could do that. And there are customers that are trading that way. We could also trade with levels. I can have support and resistance levels on the chart, and I can look for signals that are at those levels. We have some customers that are trading with their order flow, OFA. And Jim, they look for trapped buyers or sellers near the times. My system, the one that I'm using each week, I said, what is the most basic rule set that I can apply that everyone will understand inside of an hour? Okay, but is everyone clear on this puncture nonsense? I want to take advantage of the stop runs. Okay, now there's one other differentiator. If I have a buying pressure signal down here, and this was covered in the video too, I'm waiting to sell through the puncture point right there. But if the candle comes up like this and closes above the moving average, this condition is known as a crossover. And what we'll do is we'll enter at the close of that candle with a stop below the crossover candle. And then we'll hold it until the next selling pressure time. Pretty basic stuff, right? Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Anyway, here are the times that I gave you on Tuesday night for the S&P E-mini on a 3-minute chart. You can go back and check and reference. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to pull this histogram down. Now, I think we need to open the pod door, Hal. Dave. Dave, why do you use a 120 EMA, Dave? Look in the indicators with me. Jerry, do you see the dot offset right there? It's 15 ticks. Right? So the dot is 15 ticks away from the high or low of the candle. The EMA is a 120 period EMA. Now there's nothing up my sleeve. If anyone else wants to log out of the webinar now, do it, because it's going to be on you in a second. If this is making you nervous, oh, this is why I'm failing, I better get out of this webinar before I have to be accountable to something. Now's your chance. When the 120 period moving average was sloping down this morning, we knew the optimal times to sell. At 7:09 Eastern pre-market, the candle closed at 84. At 7:48, we were expecting the move to slow down or stop. And we exited at the close of the 7:48 candle, just like the histogram had warned us to. We closed with a $13.50 net gain. At 7:48, Jeffrey, we're watching for stop runs. We're watching for the banks to do what? To lure people in just before they do what? Push it up. Jerry, do you see a stop run here where they come down one candle and then up the very next candle? Guess how many ticks we took out of that? 2 points, rather. $2, 8 ticks. Now, if the slope of the moving average is down, what were we supposed to do at 8:33? What did I tell you to look for 2 days ago? Or I should say, what did the computer, one day the computer will be intelligent and sentient, and it'll go, who told them, Michael? You did, computer program. Thank you. It said, hey, the banks have demonstrated a tendency to push the market down until 9:18. This is a window. Think of it like an Indiana Jones movie. The door opens up and then it closes. The door opens up and then it closes. We have to reach in and grab the artifact. 8:33. 9:18. Get your hand out of there. We go short at 8:33 and it immediately falls through the ground. I hate snakes too. We're done by 9:18. That's a $12.50 move. Now, Jerry, they put in a pretty strong bottom right here. I wonder if they'll run the stops. Oh my God. When they ran the stops, I told nearly 80,000 people to watch for a $2 puncture. And we got it. What did the computer warn us to do at 9:57 on Tuesday night? And for how long? Until 10:06. Gosh, that's a very small window. Okie dokie, Dr. Jones. Hold on to your potatoes. We enter short at the close of the candle. It's at 30.55 half. We exit at the close of the 10:06 candle. Now I'm going to pull this wide open so you can see it. That's a $14.50 move. Now I want you to look at this very closely with me. It goes up, and then it stops right here. It goes down, and it goes down, and it goes down. And then it stops right there. Jim, what's the rule that I told you we would follow 2 days ago? If the moving average is sloping down, we go short at the close of the selling pressure signal with a stop 15 ticks away from the high, +1. We exit if the stop is hit or at the close of the opposite signal. That's the rule. Do I get to change the rules after the fact like these other yahoos? Yeah. I'm not going to recite the scout oath anymore. 10:12 comes. What are we supposed to do, Jerry, at 10:12? What is the computer warning us to do? But there's a bottom. Look. Jerry, look, there's a bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 15 minutes. It's not going anywhere. What are most traders doing at this point? 90% of people are locking and loading. Small, low risk trade. This is it. We're going up. They're sending people in China back to work, honey. We can have an iPhone. It's going to be okay. Achoo. Are you feeling okay? I'm okay. And then watch. It goes down. It goes right through the low. It continues to go through the low. It continues to go through the low. It continues to go through the low. At this point, you are up $1,500. And we're in a window of time, 10:12. Jerry, can I be break even at this point? Can I move my stop to +1? Will anyone fault me for that? Okay, so my stop is over here. Theoretically, you may cash out whenever you want. I don't care. But I have to be accountable to you knuckleheads. And then my break even gets taken out. Now, at this point, where are we at? 13, 2, 12, 2, 14, and 1.25. Anyone have a calculator really quick? Let me add that up for you. Yes, we do this every week, and the results are always the same. 13 plus 2 plus 12 plus 2 plus 14 plus 0.25 times $50 per point on the ES. Jerry, we're up to $2,000 per contract. One day. We're not even going to look at yesterday, which was just as insane. Okay. Now, the other half of the day. Look. Buying pressure signal under the moving average. Under the moving average. Right here, it closes above. This is a crossover signal. We talked about this. Comes back and hits the stop. No bueno. No bueno. We take a $9 hit. 11:36 comes. I'm up $500. Plus one. Here comes 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock, am I above or below the EMA? Using our super simple caveman Geico commercial system. 12 o'clock, I'm above it. What's the rule? Hold him accountable. We go long. How long do we go long for? Until 12:18. What do we do at 12:18? We exit. $16. 12:18 comes. What do we expect them to do around between 12:18 and 1:30? Run the stops. Did they run the stops? Multiple times. Did we get our 8 ticks? See. 1:30 comes. We enter above the moving average, 70.25. Our stop, our protective stop loss order is here. They don't follow through, and it's minus $5. So plus 18, minus 14. We're net $4, net $200 where we were a minute ago. And here's where it gets crazy. Before the webinar, I was sitting here and I made a mistake on another lower time frame chart. Melissa, do you see where I got in and got right back out? Somewhere over here somewhere. Yeah, over here I made a mistake. But Jerry, do you see where I entered? At 2:33. I exited right here, the first white candle that I saw after that bloodbath. Just for poops and giggles, I want you to see that that was a $22 move. What does the rule say I have to do? The rule says, even with the pullback, I have to hold this for you knuckleheads until 3:36. And when I do, it barely misses my break even, and it finishes net 24. Now, what do I do if it touches that white line? Jim, ready? I sell it. And you will see right here, the order to sell was at 30.1325. I got out at 30.1125 for two points. So in our previous total, we're going to add plus 4, plus 24, and plus 2. $4, 24, and 2. So it was $2,000 before. Another 100 is 2,200. Another 200 is 2,300. And then 24 times 50 is what? I'm losing track. So 2,300. Okay, clear. 24 times 50 equals plus 2,300 equals $3,500. Now, Does this look like a random market to you? Or does this look like some pretty shifty people had a plan before we started? It happened in the pre-market too, by the way. If you're in the UK, Australia, Europe. Did the same thing happen yesterday? Without me having to go through all the setups and putting all the stuff up there and drawing with all the rulers. Was the market yesterday more or less pre-planned? Do I have the moral authority to say the software was accurate 60 to 70% of the time using signals that we had 36 hours in advance? In the largest, most liquid futures market in the world, the most corrupt and deepest and institutionally manipulated market in the world. Yes. If we applied the same rules to the euro US dollar today, using the signals that the software generated for us on Tuesday night, would we be net profitable today if we were forex traders using a very simple, stupid rule? Two simple, stupid rules. Yeah. And you can go back and verify all of these times. Remember, I have nothing to do with this at this point. These times were carved in stone 2 days ago. That euro USD dollar, that was our map. These were the times that the software gave us: 305, 320, 450. 305, 320, 450. 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:25. Look at what happened at every time the software told us the banks were going to be bullies and push the value higher. Let your eye see it. Look at how they set it up. Look at the reaction when we got to those times, right up to and including the close. Wouldn't it be nice to get in a position that goes immediately in your direction for once? Am I freaking anybody out? Do you see the difference? When Goldman moves, we move. When Goldman sits still, we sit still. Any questions at this point? There are no shortage of examples. Does crude futures look like a market that was random? Or does it look like a market that had a plan? All right, see, when we get to 11:12, I want you to drive it down, see? But do a stop run right before you drop it down, all right? And then at 11:45, I want you to go down and then have one big plunge candle, see? Yeah, one plunge candle. Make them all think it's going down right before you go up. Yeah. They're gangsters. They're absolute gangsters. And they are filthy rich. I want you to be filthy rich, taking their money away from them. 6,000 customers, 10 years in business, 12,000 lines of code. You can know the times up to a week in advance. Now let's talk about that. Jeffrey, do you see over here as I slide the computer to the right, how there are times waiting for me in the future? No other software in the world provides this ability. No other software in the world is telling you profits are over here. Just wait. P.S. Seriously, don't be stupid. And those times are there waiting for us out into the future, waiting for us. So if there's a 60% chance, a 70% chance crude's going to go up at 3:30 tomorrow morning, if there's a 60 to 70% chance you're going to go in the wrong direction tomorrow at 4 o'clock, why are you trading like this is irrelevant? At one point in my trading career, I was in my closet holding my heart. I thought I was dying. I had entered in the market. It was crude at an FOMC event, and my processor couldn't keep up with the data. I thought I was short. I hit the button. It didn't take my position out. I hit the button again. I went from short to long. It was a $7,000 account. At one point, I was $4,000 underwater before it finished $200 by the time the CPU caught up in the green. My wife came in the closet. I was holding my chest and I was crying. She said, "What's wrong?" I didn't know what to say to her. Our spouses don't know what to say. There are very few people that you can talk to about how horrible this is. We have all been there. 12,000 lines of code in between you and the insanity, just waiting to be deployed. Crude was a net profitable day. This is crude on a 3-minute chart. We can add up the signals just like we did before. Get in, get out, plus $300. Get in, get out, plus $18. There's another $8 right there. Get in, get out, plus $2. Get in, net loss, minus 27. Get in, get out, plus $27. Crossover, get in, $36. Get in, $500, break even, net $2. Get in, get out right away, plus $13. Crossover trade, out, $157 plus $250. Get in, net loss, minus 21. Crossover trade, out by $246 plus 12. Crossover trade, net loss, $14. Net loss, $12. Get in, get out, plus 2. Get in, get out, minus 14. Last signal, 406. At the close, we're up $28. If you add it up, net profitable day. Your winners are twice as big as your losers. Take care, Jerry. It happened in gold futures too. We can add up the same signals in gold futures. It's the same. It's all the same stuff. Every market that we look at, it's the same plan, the same signals that I gave out 2 days ago. Follow the rules. In, out, crossover, in, out, looking for 8 ticks, punches through, small stop, minus 5, in, out, 12 ticks, looking for 8, 02, we hit 10 right there, plus 8 ticks, in, stop loss, crossover, in, plus 500, break even, in, out, plus 90 ticks, in, out, minus 4. We arrive at a conclusion. We come to today on the ES. The signals for tomorrow are waiting right now. The signals for gold are waiting right now. I have the times for the next 7 days. You can have the times for Friday, for Monday, for Tuesday, for Wednesday, for Thursday, and Friday right now. Jeffrey, I look at NQ, CL, ES. NQ is my favorite. I teach several rooms where we're looking at signals over the course of the day today. I think my net results are somewhere in here. We took a screenshot of it. I thought I did. One of these. This was yesterday's. Today was all green. But I love the NASDAQ. I love the NQ. Where are we going? I don't know where that one went. GC. So there was gold today. If we do a cursory analysis, it'll make it even easier to see. Brad, let's take a look. Maybe I'm off base. I could be. I'll admit I might have a bias. Okay, so Brad, I'm just going to take an arrow line. And I'm going to look to see where the obvious reversals were. And draw arrows there. Is that all right? Even that little small move right here. There's 23.45. I mean, it's not 80%, but would you agree that, Brad, it's in the 60 to 70? Jeffrey, I'm not sure what you'd want to talk about. What could I possibly say to you that would make this? Can you make the ES or NQ work on a longer time frame, like a 60, 15, or 15-minute? Yeah, sure. Wes, pick one. What do you want to do? 120? Yeah. Let's go ahead and dial it in. So ES 0320. And then we'll go to data series. And we'll make it a 120-minute chart. For that, I'm going to load more days. Now, Wes, I'm going to increase the dot, right? The dot distance can't be 15 ticks on a 2-hour chart. Let's try like a 50, just to see what that looks like. Okay, Wes, you see how I didn't change any of the settings but the distance of the dot to the bar? Okay. So now I'm going to come back and put that moving average on here again. And moving average, yeah, there it is. We'll put the EMA back. What I'll generally do for the offset, just so you know I'm not pulling numbers out of my rear end, is I'll load an ATR indicator, average true range. And then I look and see what the ATR is on average. And you see how I run that line through there, Wes, and it comes in at $13. So 13 times 4 is 52 ticks. And I have my offset set at 50, right? So without changing anything, right here, that's where the 2-hour chart would line up. Okay. So you would have been short from here to here. You would have been short from here to here. You would have been short from here to here. You would have traded breakouts. I don't know, instead of 8 ticks, maybe 8 points. Would that be a better solution? I don't know offhand. I'm usually on the lower time frames. So if we add it up, let me pull it out so I can see it. That's pretty close. And then from here to here on the crossover was $64. The long from here to here was $16. The short from here to here was 100 points. Then we have the same, I'm just making up the $8 puncture right here. 137, 138.50. Yeah, I'll fix it. I'll fix it. Something like that, right? And then the third move down was from 8 o'clock until 8 o'clock, 12 hours. It was a $30 move. And then again, you had the $8 puncture right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 winners in a row. Yeah, I mean, and I didn't change any of the settings, right? The question was asked earlier about setting up the workspaces. Sean, the guy you want to reach out to for that, he's better at it than I am. He's actually taken up all of the training. Did you get that email right there? You need to connect with Ron to make an appointment. So Wes, it's not hard to do this on the higher time frames, right? We can go all the way up to a daily or a weekly chart on some of these and use them for longer positions, right? So here's the Euro USD on a 60-minute chart, right? Most of the forex guys like to trade it on a larger time frame. Yeah, cool. Wes, I recognized you. And Wes, if you need help, this is the guy. While I'm out here doing all this stuff, he's actually training everybody for me now. When I get overwhelmed, he's in the trenches doing the training. So just reach out and he'll make an appointment with you. Yeah, no, not a problem. So when we kind of come full circle, we're back to this. We're the only company that gives the times and directions in advance. No worries, John, I'm getting ready for my big close. This is my big close where I hoodwink massive amounts of people out of their money with my snake oil. You probably don't want to be here for that.
Damn well moment.
For $19.95, we're not just going to include one of these, we're going to include 5. And if you pay for the shipping on the 6th one, it's yours absolutely free. Call now. Listen to me. We're the only company that does this. I gave you the times in advance. I told you what the rules would be in advance. I let 2 days pass. We came back together and we measured the results. My question to you, and Trust me, I'm married to a Cuban Italian woman. My ego is not brittle. Did it work or did it not work? Did it work or did it not work? Can I go here? Yeah. What we're all agreeing on universally, by agreeing to that, we're saying the banks have a plan each day. We can know that plan, albeit if it's a little foggy, in the 60 to 70% range. We can know that plan up to 7 days in the future. We are not hardwired to do this. Yes, Jeffrey. We are not hardwired to do this. And so we employ the same technology, the same tools that banks use. We let computers do the heavy lifting. And when we come back, time and time again, signal after signal, whether it's the Emini NASDAQ on a 1-minute chart. Jeffrey, was the NASDAQ random? Would it have been nice to know when to jump in with our contracts today? Did I have anything to do with this chart? Could I have manipulated the market to make it work better? Could I have changed the signals after the fact? Could I have modified my rules without 18 people in this room tar and feathering me the next day? No. Does it work on higher time frames? Can we put this on a gold chart on a weekly time frame? Can we see signals in the future on a weekly time frame for gold? Yeah. Is it the same stuff? Yes. What do we do when we get to the lines? We scalp it for a puncture. What else do? We go short below the moving average. We go long above the moving average. Can I trade my IRA with this? Yes. Can I trade my 401k with this? Yes. Can I trade taco shell futures with this? I don't care. Let the tool do the heavy lifting. When you let the tool do the heavy lifting, you come back at the end of all of it and you have a net profitable day. This is a $700 to $800 day on crude futures with one contract. We had a $3,000+ day in the ES in one day, closer to 5 with 2 days worth of signals, using a simple system that's easy to follow, using times that we know about in advance. Now, let me just make one more point before I tell you how this works. Most of you are trading with a clown in the closet. When your signals arrive, kind of jumps out and goes, hey, go short. Hey, go long. Hey, break even. You have no idea when the signals are coming. None. One contract. Everything we've talked about today was one contract. All of you are trading with signals that appear out of nowhere. Wouldn't it be nice to know when the signal was coming? to have your stop loss prepared, to have your entry prepared, to breathe deep, to sip your lemonade and take a bite of your bologna sandwich. Yes, we're the only company that tells you when the signals in the future are coming. No more scary clowns. No more sitting at a computer all day like a slave to this thing. Hey, can I go to the bathroom now? I'm having a very troubling feeling in my bowels. No, there could be a signal any minute. Aw. Oh. Don't leave. Look at the wick on that candle. Huh? Don't you want to get in right now? Oh. I had a customer who used to paint the rooms in his house. He was getting ready to move, and he set his Casio watch. He put alarms in for his trade times. He'd be painting a wall in his daughter's bedroom. Beep, 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 beep. And go back into the trade room, look at his computer. Is that a setup? Yeah, it's a setup. All right, let me get in. Then he'd leave. He'd either hit the target or the stop. Beep, beep, beep. Come back in 30 minutes later, place a trade. I told you what I was going to do. Now I'm going to tell you what you're going to get. You're going to get the software. I'm going to give you a promo code in a moment that makes it irresistible. If you see the price of the software with the promo code and you tell me that it's too much money, I'll know that you are either living in a box or insane. If you're living in a box, I'm sorry. But if you're crazy, there's plenty of other crazy webinars that you can attend with your free trials and your $95 a month Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care presenters. When you get the software, we're going to log on to your computer and install it for free. That's the first point of contact to make sure that it works. This works on NinjaTrader 7 and NinjaTrader 8. If you're a forex trader, NinjaTrader is free for charting and has free data. If you have TD Ameritrade, you can connect to NinjaTrader and use their charting software. CQ, Rhythmic, Kinetic, all sorts of data feeds that work with NinjaTrader. After that, we're going to log on to your computer and set up all your charts like a skinny Santa Claus shimmying down your virtual chimney. Ho, ho, ho. Who wants to have a good setup on the NQ? I do. Ron will personally set up the settings on the chart with the highest probabilities. I'm using default values in the parameters. These are not the highest probability parameters. Every chart, the only thing I changed was the offset. That's it. We will log on to your computer and tell you. We won't even tell you, I'll just do it. Ron will just do it. We'll change this setting, that setting. We'll show you the whole thing, what we're doing, record it for you if you want. Save your workspaces and templates so you don't have to figure out how to make a wheel. I want you to trade. Most companies hide their secret sauce. They don't tell you how the algorithm works. They want you to be beholden to them forever. We're giving you everything. You're going to get the training. You're going to get the setup, which I've already taught you. We'll go through it with you again in the market that you're following, just in case you're confused. And you're going to get the discount. How much? Scary clown. Welcome to the traditional clicking of the link. At our website, backtothefuturetrading.com, there is a page of products. The most popular product, by far, the flagship, the one that everybody starts out with and gets, is the Warp. If you trade futures or Forex, stocks and options, if you use Renko, range, tick, volume bars, if you trade it from a tiny time frame to a daily or weekly time frame, this is the tool for you. Click on that link and I will paste the link into your chat box. Don't pee, Jeffrey. Hang on. No urination. Pretend it's the halftime at the Super Bowl and J-Lo's coming out. Just a few minutes and everything you want is right there. Click on that link in your GoToWebinar chat box. At the very bottom of the page is an orange Buy Now box. Good Lord, it's huge. I am on my best behavior. $24.95. If you click this giant marmalade button, this annoying thing pops up. We have a training room. Thank you, Earl. I would have had an aneurysm. We have a training room that meets Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where we show the signals in a simulator and demonstrate entries and exits until you get your feet underneath you. It's $25 a week, about $6 a day for 3 or 4 hours. Works out to about $1.50 an hour. You're basically paying slave labor to a babysitter for us to demonstrate 10 years worth of experience live in a market. In my room, I have a daily goal of $100 to $200 per contract. We've hit the goal 3 days in a row so far this week. If you don't want any of that, we meet 8, 9, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, the US session. What did Ron just send me? This is Ron's results in his training room from January 1st to present. Ron demonstrates setups in his training room Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have mine Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. These are his net results in his training room in a simulator using a simulated contract telling you here, out here, here, out here. If that's something that you want, we have that ability for you. If you don't want it, go to here. If you want to see forex, we have forex data. We can show forex signals. Listen, there's a promo code. WARPOFF. I'm putting it in there. Can you see that in the chat box? Look into my eyes. Look at your chat box. Warp off. If you're from Brooklyn, you say it like this. Hey, warp off. Forget about it. If you hit apply, it takes $500 off the price. Ron hates when I give out discounts. He's like, why are we giving off $500 if the thing made $3,000 in 2 days? I don't know. You're supposed to give discounts at webinars. That's what they said in webinar school. There are no webinar schools. If you would like that discount tonight, click on checkout, use your PayPal, use your PayPal credit, use your debit card, your credit card. Call grandma, tell her you want an advance on your monthly stipend. Go sell that Ford Fiesta in the backyard that you've been hanging on to. I don't care. You can have the times for tomorrow, for Monday, for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. This is the only thing between you and a level playing field. That's it. This is where we're at. If you want to beat them at their own game, if you want to fight fire with fire, if you want to draft the banks, you want to move when they move, you do not have the biological hardware. You are evolutionarily predisposed to do everything wrong. Every move in the market, every click of the tick, every candle movement is designed to lure you into the opposite position. You know this. You don't need me to tell you this. Today, we looked at multiple markets in futures and forex, applied a brain dead simple setup. In here, out here, stop loss target. $600, $800, $2,200, $3,000. What are you going to do? If you need to reach me, there are multiple points of contact. Michael at backtothefuturetrading.com is the first way to reach me. My Skype address is integra-michael. My phone, this is my mobile phone. If you can, please text first, is 336-703-7667. I've pasted my contact details into the room if you need me. You can reach me on an airplane. I'm not on an airplane. Ladies and gentlemen, the markets are rigged. Most vendors have rigged their sales systems. Their marketing is rigged. Their indicators don't work. I have gone above and beyond every available means of evaluation. I gave you the signals in advance. I gave you the setups in advance. I gave you all of it. 2 days worth of signals. You could have paid for the software in 1 day. What are you going to do? Do you want a scary clown in your closet? Or do you want a peaceful Zen trading experience? I can walk away from my computer. I can take a breath. I can use the restroom. I can get some sunshine, do some chores around the house, tell my wife, my husband, I love them, give them a hug, walk back in, get ready for the next setup with a clear head. My terms, my risk. You, banks, if you're going to do it again, you're going to pay me too. There's a warp tax now. If you want to push the market and rig it, you got to pay me a few shekels too. Keep my mouth shut. Or maybe you like the excitement. Maybe you punish yourself in the markets. And losing money is a way to reinforce what people have been saying about you their whole lives. My mother was right about you. Quiet, Margaret. If that's your deal, don't buy this because it's going to make you profitable. And then Margaret's mom won't have anything to say anymore. But there are a handful of you here today who want, at your funeral, somebody to stand up and say, you know, we didn't think Bert was going to get this trading thing. He talked about it at the club a lot. He never shut up about it at softball. And then something happened one day and it just clicked for him. He's driving around in a Tesla. He's throwing candy at kids on the sidewalk. It was crazy. He must have figured that trading stuff out. That's what I want for you. I want that for you. We've been working on this for 10 years, 6,000 plus clients, every major financial market in the world. If this didn't work, we'd be out of business by now. You can tell the marketing ain't so great. Thank you for your time on behalf of everyone here at backtothefuturetrading.com. It is a privilege and an honor. It's not lost on me that we have a responsibility to provide robust engineering to you. Between Ron and I, we have over 70 years of experience in the engineering field. We don't build junk. If you're looking for a tool you can rely on for the rest of your life, 2 licenses, free training, free setup, one-on-one, set up all your charts, $500 promo code, training room for you if you want. It's slave wage labor. It's sitting here on the plate. You just got to grab it. You don't want it? I got nothing for you. Welcome on board, Jeffrey. Welcome on board, Susan. Yeah, I can get you a recording. Big John. I'll send it to you, John, right after it finishes rendering. It'll be done probably by 7 o'clock tonight, if that's okay. I'll shoot it over to you. Now, may the wind be at your back. May the sun shine on your face. May the rain fall gently on your head. May the valleys rise up to meet you. May the mountains lay low before you on your journey. Those of you that are friends, you are family to me, and I love you. Thank you for your support. Those of you who are guests in our home today, it was an honor having you here. And if there's anything I can do, maybe we're not for you. You need a reference for another style, another kind of system. There's a handful of people that I trust, and I'm happy to recommend something to you if this wasn't a good fit for you. You guys have a great night. We appreciate you more than you know. Be careful out there. Volatility is good for trading, but if you're going out there with rusty, blunt tools, you're going to have your you-know-what handed to you. Do not fund the rich guy Lexus webinar, the Lexus Christmas bonus. Stop giving these creeps your money. We believe there's a way to change that. We've got an edge for you if you want it. You're not ready? Please continue coming to our webinars, ask for help. We're happy to do whatever we can. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you soon.